Okay, great. I think we'll get started then. So it's really lovely to see the room full of, first of all, my students from the New York College Psychology Department. It's great to see you having turned out for this exciting event, and also, of course, welcome to the guests in the room who've joined us. I'm here as the head of the Department of Psychology, and together with Mr. Yogesh Crálli here, we have a great collaboration as a department with the non-governmental organisation Humanlinks. We have collaborated on the hosting of their mental health festival in the past, and various projects including undergraduate student placements. We have quite a long history together, and through them we have come into contact with tonight's speaker, Mr. Yogesh Sharda, and we're very pleased to have him here with us today. He's an internationally renowned personal development expert and trainer, yoga, meditation expert, and we're really excited to learn more about self-awareness, which of course is a very important topic in today's world for success, personal and professional. So today we'll learn a lot about that, I'm sure, through tonight's speaker. And I would like to now hand over to Mr. Crálli to say a few more words about our speaker and the Humanlinks organisation. And this little bit will be in Greek, so hopefully you'll be happy with that. And then the rest of the evening will, of course, be in English with our invited speaker. So, George, would you like to say a few words?
Όταν κάνουμε πρακτική στο διαλογισμό, κοιτάζουμε λίγο τους ανθρώπους απέναντί μας και βλέπουμε λίγο βαθύτερα. Δεν μένουμε μόνο στη μορφή, μπαίνουμε λίγο βαθύτερα στο «ον», πίσω από το σώμα. Γεια σας, έχω μια μικρή συγκίνηση, γιατί θυμάμαι στο δεύτερο φεστιβάλ που είχαμε κάνει, ένα φεστιβάλ το οποίο διήρκησε έναν ολόκληρο μήνα, πάνω σε θέματα ψυχικής υγείας, τα οποία σχετίσαμε με διάφορους άλλους τομείς της ανθρώπινης δραστηριότητας, όπως είναι το περιβάλλον, όπως είναι τα εργασιακά, η διατροφή και διάφορη τέχνη. Και εδώ το κολέγιο έχει φιλοξενήσει 3 events, είχαμε πάρα πολύ κόσμο, έχω ακόμα φωτογραφίες, και το ένα, θυμάμαι, είχε να κάνει με το well-being και τη σωστή διατροφή. Και είχαν έρθει εδώ και μοιράστηκαν επιστήμονες αλλά και γιόγκις, οι οποίοι είναι πολύ συνδεδεμένοι με το τρόπο της διατροφής και πόσο αυτό επιδρά στη ψυχική και σωματική υγεία των ανθρώπων. Και είχαμε κάνει εδώ και κάτι άλλο. Είχαμε κάνει για πρώτη φορά ένα πείραμα, δεν ήταν ακριβώς πείραμα, πήραμε ένα ρίσκο. Κάναμε για πρώτη φορά λοιπόν εδώ, οργανώσαμε μια ομάδα ψυχοθεραπείας, που όλοι γνωρίζουμε όσοι είμαστε επαγγελματίες ψυχικής υγείας, δεν τα ανοίγεις αυτά, είναι κλειστά, είναι συμφωνημένα. Το ανοίξαμε βεβαίως, κάναμε ένα open call στην κοινότητα και είχαμε γεμίσει, είχαμε 100 άτομα. Θα το θυμάσαι Ήταν ένα πολύ ωραίο team, ήταν η δασκάλα μου εδώ πέρα και κάναμε μια ομάδα ψυχοθεραπείας. Και το εγχείρημα ποιο ήταν? Κατά πόσο η κοινότητα μπορεί να φροντίσει ψυχοθεραπευτικά ένα άτομο ή κάποια άτομα που πονάνε. Ήταν εκπληκτική εμπειρία αυτή και την συνεχίσαμε. Λοιπόν, η Humanlinks, και θα κλείσουμε το Yogesh, θα είπε ήδη η Αντωνία, είναι μια οργάνωση, είναι μια μικρή αστική μη κερδοσκοπική εταιρεία αμιγώς. Λειτουργούμε εδώ και πολλά χρόνια ως ομάδα, επίσημα από το 2017, και οργανώνουμε πάρα πολλές δράσεις, αλλά ο κύριος, μην επεκταθώ, ο κύριος σκοπός λοιπόν της οργάνωσης αυτής είναι κατά πόσο μπορούν άτομα που υποφέρουν και δοκιμάζονται σε θέματα ψυχικής υγείας, στη δική μας τη γλώσσα αυτή λέγονται κλινικοί ασθενείς, καταλαβαίνετε, με τρομακτικές εμπειρίες, κατά πόσο μπορούν λοιπόν να φτάσουν σε επίπεδα αυτορύθμισης και αυτοδιαχείρισης σε συνεργασία με τους γιατρούς τους. Στα 20 χρόνια που είμαστε σαν ομάδα έχουμε μηδενίσει τις υποτροπές. Είναι μια ομάδα γύρω στα 17 άτομα και πολλοί loners που έρχονται και φεύγουν. Έχουν μηδενίσει, δεν ξέρω, νομίζω το γνωρίζετε τι σημαίνει υποτροπή στην Ελλάδα και τι σημαίνει μπαίνω βγαίνω στα ψυχιατρία, κόβω τα φάρμακα. Και τα άτομα αυτά, εκτός από το ότι έχουν μηδενίσει τις υποτροπές τους, έχουν φτάσει σε τέτοιο επίπεδο να ρυθμίζουν μόνοι τους έναν ολόκληρο οργανισμό. Αυτή τη στιγμή δηλαδή τρέχουν προγράμματα και είναι οι ίδιοι, τρέχουν αυτό, τα παιδιά έχουν εμπειρία. Είναι οι πρώτοι φοιτητές που ήρθαν και είμαστε πολύ ευγνώμονοι στο κολέγιο, εξαιρετική δουλειά κάνουν, συντονιστήκαν αμέσως. Και ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Κάνουμε όνειρα τελευταία έτσι και με το κολέγιο και με την Αντωνία, υπέροχη συνεργάτηδα. Και τώρα περάσει το Yogesh. Ήδη τα είπε η Αντωνία. Κάνει μία. Γνωρίζω το Yogesh πιο πολύ ως άτομο. Έχω κάνει ο ίδιος μου μαζί του διαλογισμό και στην Ινδία. Πολλές φορές έχω πάει. Αλλά και εδώ. Ταξιδεύει σε όλο τον κόσμο και στηρίζει SEO, δηλαδή μεγαλοστελέχη πολυεθνικών εταιριών. Και είχα εντυπωσιαστεί πριν πολλά χρόνια όταν μοιραζόταν και έλεγε ότι προετοιμάζει τα ΔΣ πριν κάνουν σύσκεψη, συνεδρία, σύσκεψη. Καταλαβαίνετε δηλαδή το πόσο χρειάζεται ο άνθρωπος σήμερα, είτε είναι σε μια πολυεθνική διευθυντής ή πρόεδρος, ή ένας ασθενής χρειάζεται να κάνει διαλογισμό, να μπει πάρα πολύ βαθιά μέσα του, να κάνει mindfulness, που είναι και πολύ της μόδας αυτό εντωμεταξύ, αλλά το mindfulness είναι ένα παιδάκι του διαλογισμού. Με είχε καλέσει η Ελευσίνα Πολιτιστική Πρωτεύουσα φέτος το Σεπτέμβρη, με τίμησε η κυρία Αλεξάνδρα Μητσοτάκη, να μιλήσω για τα benefits of meditation. Και υπόθηκαν, και εδώ μπορούμε να το κάνουμε, με βιβλιογραφίες, με Harvard, με όλα αυτά. Και λοιπόν έπιανα λίγο την ατμόσφαιρα και τη συγκίνηση που δημιουργούσε στους ανθρώπους οι οποίοι το χρειάζονται. Δηλαδή, είμαι ψυχοθεραπευτής πάνω από 30 χρόνια, αλλά η δυναμική ενός διαλογισμού και ενός mindfulness πραγματικά είναι αξεπέραστη. Σας εύχομαι καλή διασκέδαση με τον φίλο μου, τον Yogesh, ο οποίος πετάει σε όλο το πλανήτη, οργανώνει, υποστηρίζει μεγάλα νοσοκομεία, μεγάλες εταιρείες όπως είπαμε, εκπαιδευτήρια επίσης, κάνει πολύ καλή δουλειά έτσι και με δασκάλους και όλα αυτά. Σας ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Yeah, so when I was very young, I came into this study and practice through a spiritual university which is based in Mount Abu in India. It's called Brahma Kumari's Spiritual University. And so since then, these aspects of self-awareness, understanding what's going on in your mind, have been very important for me. And as I grew up, I was quite surprised at how little attention people pay to their inner world, their inner life. So we have the outer life of our study, our career, family, travel, and so on. And of course, all that's very important. But as well as that, there is an inner life of our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs, our perceptions. And I find that the inner world is much more vast than the outer world. But due to this imbalance of paying attention to the inner and the outer, I think we have the stresses and strains that we see in life today. And we sometimes find it difficult to have attributes which I think should be more natural for us, such as being able to let go of the past, being able to forgive, having the willpower to do what I know is good for me, and having the willpower to not do that which I know is bad for me. Patience, understanding, all of these life skills. And I believe that the more we have self-awareness and really understand what's happening within our consciousness, the better we are able to have a good relationship with ourselves and also relationship with the world outside. And so we've termed this in the context of self-awareness for success in personal and professional life. We'll be looking at these two areas. My preferred style of presentation and training is to make it a little bit interactive and also to have some fun. Is that okay? Do you like fun? All right, okay. Okay, so let's start with this. I'd like to put something up. Do I need to keep holding this? Yeah, I do. Okay. This is where you need 3 arms. Right. Okay, so a question. The question is, what do you see? You could raise your hand and call out. Yes.
Spiral.
A spiral. Okay. All right. Yes.
Snail.
A snail. All right. Okay. Anything else? We can be creative.
Tornado.
Tornado. Okay, it's getting serious. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Anything else? Yes.
The roll is the chewing gum.
Chewing gum.
Yeah. The one that you roll.
Oh, okay. The chewing gum that you roll up. Okay. All right. I've never heard that answer. Sorry, sir?
Confused line.
Sorry, I missed it.
Confused line.
Confuse.
Yes, lines.
Confused line. All right. Okay. Okay. You had your hand up?
Space.
Space, yeah. Sometimes people say space.
Staircase.
A staircase, yeah. Spiral staircase. Okay. Sometimes people say, okay, one more.
I feel like the question was no.
Say again, sorry.
You asked what do we see?
What do you see?
Yes. Maybe we don't.
That's a deep answer. Okay. I think I need to talk more with you to learn something. Yeah. Sometimes people say I see the universe, or some people say I see a thumbprint. Some say I see a cinnamon roll. Yeah? All kinds of answers come. But, there is a but. The but is that all the answers which you gave are about this. Yeah? Nobody said, I also see lots of wide available empty space as well. I did not ask, what did I draw? I asked, what do you see? Now your eyes immediately went to that image. And so what you see will influence what you think about. Your creative thinking will be influenced by what you see. And what you think about will then generate your emotions, the way that you feel. Your emotions will drive your choices, your behaviors, the people you spend time with, the places you go to, the relationships you form. And all of that then creates your life, your world, your reality. So where does everything begin? It begins with what you choose to see. Now this is just an example of our physical eyes. But the point I'm making here is to do with the eye of your mind. And that tells us, as you go through day-to-day life, many things come in front of you. Sometimes people will praise you, sometimes they'll criticize you. Sometimes you will succeed in something, sometimes you will fail. Sometimes you are the center of attention, other times you are completely ignored. And you may not be able to control all of those things, but the thing you can control is what you choose to see in that, with the eye of your mind. And there's a very lovely saying, very deep saying, Jaisi aapki drishti, vaisi aapki srishti. Did you get that? It's a Hindi saying which is, as is your vision, so is your world. Now, when we don't like something or someone in our world, we try to change that, we try to fight that. But what self-awareness is telling us is, before I try to fight or change what I don't like, can I change the way I am seeing? Can I upgrade my vision? And that is what self-awareness, or I may use the term spiritual intelligence, is about. Realizing there's a whole world inside here, and if I upgrade it, if I work on it, my relationship with the world outside begins to change. I cannot control what I see, I can control how I am choosing to see it. I may not be able to control what life is giving to me, but I can control how I choose to receive it. So is my focus on, why is life giving this to me? Or is my focus on, how do I choose to receive this? And that makes all the difference. Now, when I first started working, my first job in central London many years ago, then, you go into work in the morning and you say to your colleagues, hello, good morning, how are you? And most people would say, I'm just surviving, mate. And I thought, surviving, just to survive, is that what life is about? Just to survive? Surely there must be more to living than just surviving. To survive is what a tree would do, what a plant would do. But as human beings, we have consciousness, we have awareness. We can change our relationship with life if we choose to understand what's going on inside us. So this is one group of people, those who are in the survival mode towards life. Then there's a second group, and these are people who don't survive, but people who exist. And to exist means you go through the day-to-day experiences of life. Again, you fail, you succeed, you are praised, you're criticized. And in that existing mode, your emotions are at the mercy of the things happening outside of you. And so your emotions may go up and down during the day. Sometimes something good happens and you feel great. Sometimes something not so good happens, your emotions go down. And it's quite tiring to be on the emotional roller coaster. Yeah? And some people, they wake up in a bad mood every day. And they invented this phrase, well, I'm just not a morning person. I wondered where that phrase came from. It's probably coffee manufacturers who encourage us to feel good by having a morning cup of coffee. So there's the survival group, there's the existing group, but then the highest group, the smallest group, and I'd say that's the group that we're all interested in, is those who truly live. Now, what does it mean to live? To live means I have made some choices. I have decided that my peace of mind and my happiness are my personal property, non-negotiable, full stop. And people who live, as compared to people who exist, have understood the power of vision is in my own hands. So when they are faced with adversity, difficulty, they learn how to use that to make themselves grow. Not only does the adversity no longer bother them, but they actually use it to make themselves grow. And hence the saying, do not just go through life, but grow through life. It's a choice. Don't just go with the flow, but grow with the flow. Indeed, glow with the flow. All depends on how I am choosing to see situations. Now, there is so much for us to learn, but I believe there's something even more important than learning. Now, if you can ask my friend to be quiet for a moment, because you were there the other night. What could be more important than to learn? Yes, any ideas? Yes, over here.
To apply the knowledge.
Sorry, madam?
To apply the knowledge.
Apply the knowledge, yes, and?
To feel. To feel.
Feel, okay, all right, yeah.
To understand what you are learning.
Understand it, yes, okay, that's true. All right.
To fail.
To fail.
And then learn.
Yeah, that's also a good point. Thank you. To grow, yeah, grow through that. All of these things, but I would add one more. Are you saying something?
Food.
Sorry? Food. Food. That's always important, yeah. I believe in addition to learning, I think we also have to unlearn. Yeah? I believe we have to unlearn what we have mislearned so we can relearn what we should have learned. Now, as we've passed through life, and most of you are at the early stages of your adult life, you have learned many things, of course, many good things. But I would say that you've also learned some self-limiting behaviors which can then guide or shape the way you live the rest of your life. It's important to identify those and unlearn. It's a little question for you. The things that you have learned in your life up to now, how have you learnt them? What has been your way of learning? Yes?
You mean how we achieved?
Yeah, whatever you've learned, how have you learnt it?
Through traumatic experiences.
All right, okay. Okay, let's just go to the back first, yeah.
From our parents.
Yes, that's a big one. Okay. And, okay, over here.
Observing.
Yeah. Let's do a little exercise in learning styles. This would require you just to stand up for a moment. Would that be okay? All right, so there's just one rule in this little exercise, and that rule is please do as I say. Do you accept? You agree? Okay, it's not dangerous and it's not embarrassing. All right? So just put your right arm out, parallel to the floor. Might need a bit of space. Okay? You might need to move a little bit, some of you. And now, just bring your hand in towards your body. Okay, that's good. And now just take your hand out again. Okay, now just bring your finger and your thumb together. Just bring this in towards your body. Okay, not too fast, not too slow. Now just extend your arm as far as it can go. One last time, bring your hand in towards your body. Bring it up to your face. Gently, very gently. Just touch your chin and freeze. Just hold it right there. Now, what did I say? Touch your chin. What are most of you doing? Chin is down here. So why are you doing this? I was told New York College is the smartest people in Athens. I have my doubts now. All right, thank you. You can sit down. Yeah, when so some people say, oh well, English is not my first language, so I get it mixed up. But even when I do this in Oxford, 95% of people will do this. So what this shows us is most of what we learn by observation, as you rightly pointed out. So what happened here was your mind was receiving two different kinds of information. The eyes were bringing you visual information, which was saying, touch your cheek, because you saw me do that. Your ears brought you audio information, which was my words, which said, touch your chin. So behind your five senses, especially your eyes and your ears, there is something called your mind. Your mind chose to obey your eyes and not your ears. So most of the learning we have, we do quite passively and automatically by observation, especially in terms of our behaviors. And in this regard, our main teachers have been our parents, maybe older brother, sister, particular friend. And as you would know, as children, your brain is a bit like a sponge. We observe, we absorb, and we mimic, we copy. We copy that behavior. Of course, we learn many good things, but as well as that, we have learned some self-limiting behaviors. And by repeating those self-limiting behaviors, they then become deep-rooted habits, which then guide us in the rest of our lives. So self-awareness tells us that, hang on just a moment, understand what's going on inside your awareness and learn to grow. Learn to overcome some habits which are limiting you from being all that you can be. Learn to, just like if you go to the gym, you can learn to be more fit. You can develop yourself. So too, it's possible to grow and develop yourself mentally, emotionally, by becoming aware of what's happening inside your inner world. Now, how some of these behaviors have formed is through repetition. So you may be aware of some of these experiments which have been done to see how behavior works. So for example, there was this one of the fish placed in a fish tank. One happy fish swimming away using the whole area of the fish tank. And then sometime later, a glass barrier is placed towards one end of the fish tank, and fish food is then dropped on the other side of the barrier. So what does the fish do? It swims towards the food, it collides with the barrier. It cannot get through. And so it learns after a while, I cannot get through this barrier. It swims to the barrier and just turns around in this way. Meantime, scientists drop more fish food down here, and the fish continues to move in this pattern. And then eventually, some time later, scientists remove that barrier. And so now here you have fish food, and here you have one hungry fish, and no barrier. So what does the fish do when the barrier is removed?
The same cycle.
Continues in the same fashion. And eventually the fish dies. But what killed the fish? That's actually the real answer. But for the purposes of our conversation today, yeah. The habit, yeah. Or we tend to say the fish died of experience. So the experience of that past failure. So although physically there was no longer a barrier, somehow it was in the mind of the fish. And these are mental limits that we create, and why we use this example is because this is what we do as human beings. We have a difficult experience, we fail at something, we have a bitter experience, the situation has flowed into the past. But what we do is we keep remembering it again and again and again, and we create a mental barrier for ourselves. And each time we remember that failure, that bitter or painful experience, that hurtful experience, it's like adding another brick onto that barrier. And eventually it becomes a belief. The belief, I cannot do such and such. I am unable to do X, Y, Z. And those beliefs then shape the way my thought energy is moving. It shapes my creativity. It shapes what I think I'm capable of. And I think if somehow you were to open up your mind and look inside, you would see a number of these barriers and these beliefs which have been created over time, which are determining how your thought energy is moving. Now, self-awareness tells us it's possible to dissolve those barriers. It's possible to be free. As somebody said, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. Everything starts with what you think that you are capable of or not capable of. In the context of personal and professional success, I'm going to use the projector now. Okay. Okay, so this is telling us that there are, let's say, three main kinds of intelligence that we require in order for success both in personal life and in professional life. So the one which we're of course very used to hearing about is IQ, our intelligence quotient, and that's to do with rational intelligence. That's really to do with logic and reason, analysis, and it was a way by which it was measured how well a person would do in academic life and in career. If somebody scored high on an IQ test, we would say, wow, she or he is very intelligent. But there's more to intelligence than simply IQ. You may have a person with a very high IQ, the best degrees from the top universities in the world, but a disaster in relationships. His kids don't listen to him, his wife is always arguing. And so it means there's another kind of intelligence also needed for happiness and well-being in life. And that's this one here, which again is very popular, I'm sure you're aware, EQ, or emotional intelligence. And that's really to do with how well you understand and manage your own emotions, and how well you understand and pick up how others are feeling. Now, if you can understand and manage your own emotions, then you're available to pick up how others are feeling. But if you cannot manage your emotions or your moods, then you will project them onto other people. And so then our relationships get very complicated when we blame someone, become angry on someone who has nothing to do with my issue. So think about this, that, we all sometimes get irritated or get a bit of a bad mood, but how long are you able to lift yourself out? How quickly are you able to lift yourself out of a bad mood and once again be productive? Because when one is in a bad mood, it says there is a sign here saying, don't talk to me today. No? I'm not going to laugh, don't make any jokes. So when you're in a bad mood, it's as though you are useless to yourself and you are useless to others as well. So how long does your bad mood last? How long is the average New York college bad mood? Oh, okay.
To 30 minutes to 1 week. Depends.
That's a fairly large scale, 30 minutes to 1 week. For some it may be longer, some shorter.
What caused the bad mood?
Okay, it's the cause of the bad mood, all right.
No, what caused the bad mood? So, depending on how severe it is, there should be a difference in how long it should affect us.
Well, that's true, but we also need to see where the mood comes from. You know, we will explore that a little bit. Where do these emotions come from? Are they things which come from outer space and just make me suffer, and I have to wait until they release me and go away? Or am I the boss of my own emotions? Who's in charge up here? Is there a boss up here? Or is the boss sleeping? Or is the boss away on holiday somewhere? So we need to explore that. Emotional intelligence means to understand how the emotions work, so I am in charge of the way I feel. And this then brings us to what is sometimes considered as the highest of the intelligences, SQ, or spiritual intelligence, which is not to do with faith or traditions or religion, but it's two main things. One is to do with your sense of personal identity. In other words, who are you? Who do you think you are? Right? How do you see yourself? What is the image of yourself which you're carrying around in your awareness the whole day? And that is impacting how you feel about life. And thus it is said, you do not see the world as it is, you see the world as you are. According to who you think you are, is how you'll see the world, praise, criticism, people who are similar to you, people different to you, all of that. And that's the essential question, or we're going to explore a bit more. What is this sense of identity? Who am I? And how does identity then impact our emotions? Second thing that SQ is concerned with is to do with our sense of purpose. In other words, how clear are you about why you are doing whatever it is that you are doing? Why do you get out of bed in the mornings? Where are you going? What's it all about for you? Now, people who do this kind of inner work to understand identity and purpose, I've seen two signs in them. They're remarkable, very productive people. One is they own their personal motivation. Now, in this context, there are two types of motivation. There's something called emotional or extrinsic motivation, which is reward-based. So for example, in work, I'll give you more money, I'll give you a company car, I'll give you a bigger office. Extrinsic motivation, which is fast-acting, but doesn't last very long. Then there is intrinsic or spiritual motivation, which is based upon doing this work of understanding who am I and why I am doing what I am doing. And that kind of motivation is not just for your job, but it passes through every area of your life. It's like the red thread which passes through your personal life, your family life, your work life, your social life. And even if you fail at something, you do not become disheartened or disappointed or give up. In fact, you get even more determined because you've got a clear sense of focus. The second thing I've noticed in people with high SQ is a very deep-seated sense of contentment. Even if they fail, even if they're criticized, they don't get the blues. They own their contentment. And I would say that this study, this journey into SQ, takes you to what I would term as the DNA of your being, the DNA of your soul. It takes you to the very engine room of who you are. Once you begin to get a sense of that and you live from there, you become unstoppable. Mostly what stops us is our own self-criticism, our fears of failure. But when you're clear, when your mind is focused, then the best in you comes out and you're able to achieve success. There's a great saying that a friend of mine said, and it helped me so much. He said, success respects focus more than it respects IQ. So there's a lot of people out there with high IQ, but not successful because they're not focused. And there are other people with relatively lower IQ, but because the mind is focused, they're able to reach success. And the question is, am I waiting for circumstances to change before I can release the best in me? Or am I working on being more focused? Let me illustrate this in a simple way. Let's say one day I'm just walking down the street here in Athens. I'm just looking at the shops. Okay, I'm just looking around here and there. And you might see me in the street. And you may stop me and say, "Oh, aren't you the guy who did the talk?" And, we have a little conversation. But then another day you see me walking in the same street, but I have a very different walk. It's like I'm going somewhere. And you see me, but you won't stop me. You may just say, "Hi, I just wanted to say hello," but I know you're busy. So if I'm not focused, if I don't really know where I'm going, obstructions and obstacles may come to take up my time. If I know where I'm going, obstacles, obstructions, they get out of the way. It's very important to understand, let me not be focused on circumstances and situations for success. Let me focus on being clear in my mind of who I am and why I am doing what I am doing. Exploring these two questions makes you focused. And where your mind is focused, naturally, determination comes out of you. And determination is the key to success. Both in your personal life, relationships, and also in your study or the work that you're doing. Now, is this making sense so far? Yeah? Let's do this. Before going to the next part, before looking at the model of self-awareness, I'd like to introduce a little exercise which is about being able to make your mind calm and steady and stress-free. Would you be interested to do that? Anybody have stress in their lives? Yeah? Always. All right, this is a simple exercise called creative visualization. And it's a beginner's exercise I'll share with you. So what will happen is I'll just lead you through a guided commentary for about 4 or 5 minutes. You just follow with your mind, because the mind thinks in pictures, and it just leads you to that place of quiet where your emotions become calm. And this can be useful for you in, nerves for exams or anything in life. So it helps if you can have your back straight and your feet flat on the floor. I think everybody's phones are quiet anyway, but just make sure in case it suddenly goes off. So you may close your eyes for this particular exercise. Just allow your hands to rest gently on your legs, if that's okay for you. And just follow the commentary as best as you can. So this particular exercise is called the quiet room of peace. And so the world outside of me is the world of sound and action. It's the world of doing. I cannot control the world outside of me, but there is also a world inside me, the world of my thoughts, of my feelings, and my experiences. And the world inside is in my own hands. And so let me experience the calmness and the peace which is already inside. And so just bring your attention in towards yourself, and bring your attention up towards your face. And now bring your attention to the center of your forehead. And here at the center of the forehead, just picture a small room. This tiny room in the center of the forehead, this is your quiet room of peace. And your quiet room of peace is your private and personal space. When you are inside your quiet room, you feel very relaxed. This is the place where you can be yourself. Inside your quiet room, you are safe. You are secure. You are free from the pressures and the demands of the outside world. Inside your quiet room, you can let go of your daily roles and responsibilities. Feel the peace and the wonderful silence of your quiet room. And just allow your mind to absorb this atmosphere of serenity, tranquility. And as you do so, the thoughts begin to slow down. The mind becomes calm, quiet, relaxed, peaceful, and free. Just be with this feeling of peace in your mind for 1 minute. Okay, and when you feel ready, you can just open your eyes. Okay, how do you feel? Everyone okay? Anyone sleeping? If this works for you, if you feel relaxed, then please try to do at least once a day, maybe twice a day. The mind deserves it. The mind needs a break from thinking and emoting and analyzing and responding. Just step away, go to your quiet room, just be there, be at peace. Then come back to your work, your meeting, your conversation. You feel much more focused. The mind needs to be respected. And I find in most big cities are quite disrespectful to the mind. We're bombarded with so much information. And that's why people like to escape to nature when they can. Get out of the city. You want to say something?
Or meditation?
Actually, it's not quite meditation, it's creative visualization.
Remember, I did hypnosis, so I know that it's similar.
Oh, okay. Okay. See, the mind thinks in images or pictures, so guiding the mind, just like, if you think of a difficult memory, a bad memory, you begin to feel bad. Think of a good memory, you begin to feel good. So thoughts and images then bring up feelings from inside. And the mind has a mechanism by which it works, as you would know. Now, any machine that you buy, whether it's a phone or a fridge or a car, along with that machine, what do you also receive? Say again?
Leisure.
Yeah, you get a user manual, right? A manual which tells you how to use it properly and how to maintain it. And so the question is, where is the user manual for the mind? What sort of thoughts are healthy first thing in the morning? How much should I think about a failure of mine? How should I talk to myself when I fail? Now, can you remember the first thing you failed at? Yes, you can? What was that?
Yes. When I was about, must have been close to 2, nearly 2, I wanted to move my hand in a specific way, like my fingers, but I couldn't because I wasn't fully developed yet. I remember that and I was frustrated.
Wow.
So I failed that.
Well, that's okay, that's specific in your case, but I think something we all failed at, first time, I'm sure we can't remember, was walking. Right? You must have fallen down when you first tried to walk. Anybody walk first time? No? But what do the parents do? The first time you fall down, what do? They lift you up again. You know, come on, try again until you learn to balance, you learn how to use these things called legs. So they positively encourage you. Imagine if a parent does something opposite. First time baby falls down, parent says, this walking is not really for you, is it? You know? Don't waste your time with this activity. Don't bother walking. You're a failure, you're a loser at walking. So if that was said, then even today we'd all be crawling around on the floor. In the same way, your mind is like your child. And when you fail at something, and we all have failures, it's very important to activate positive self-talk, positive self-dialogue. Like a parent talking to a child. And so for me, now 3 simple steps have helped me in this process. I ask myself, what can I learn from that situation? Now, it may be something practical or technical, which I made a mistake, or it could be in terms of relations. Maybe I said something I shouldn't. Maybe I made a judgment I shouldn't have. So what can I learn from this which I will do differently next time? Quickly identify the lesson and even write it down. Second thing is allow yourself to forget the situation. Third step, move on. Forget this failure, but carry the lesson into tomorrow. In this way, we keep learning, we keep growing, we keep accumulating wisdom. If we simply think of the failure and not the lesson learned, then we get a bit depressed, a bit heavy. So,
sorry to interrupt you, I must go, I'm on a duty. But it's
Sorry.
excellent so far. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Yeah. So keep the positive self-dialogue going. Be a good friend to your own mind. In fact, we even call it as making your mind your best friend. I'm just going to continue a little while and then come to the question later, if that's okay. Yeah? All right. So let's look now at the model of self-awareness, which shows us there are four main areas from which our behavior emerges. Okay? Now, there are things that we all know, right? We all know stuff. And we know that we know. Now, can you give me an example of something you know and you know that you know? Can be anything simple.
My name.
My name, okay. All right. Something practical.
How to cook.
Pardon?
How to eat.
How to eat. Yeah, we all know that, huh? Yeah. I've noticed that. Yeah, somebody said riding a bike. Riding a bike. Yeah. Riding a bike. Maybe you know how to swim at the end. I don't.
Addition, the value of money.
The value of money. Okay. All right. How to walk. All right, I'll just stop there. We'll come back to you a little bit later. So if I ask you to do something you know, and you know that you know, then how would you feel? Confident, right? If I ask you to ride a bike, if I ask you to walk, there's no problem. Why? Because you know, and you know that you know, so you feel secure, you feel comfortable, you feel in control. And everybody loves to act from this box because I'm coming from a place of security and comfort. So far, so good. Then there's a second box. These are things that you don't know. But you know that you don't know. Now, can you give me an example of something you know that you don't know? Okay, we come to you this time.
Speaking Korean.
Speaking Korean, all right, good. And lady here? Mathematics. Okay, all right.
What came before the Big Bang?
Okay, that's a big one. All right. So there are many things, of course, for all of us that we don't know. But if I know that I don't know, then to some degree, if I wish, I could take some steps to learn. Right? If I want to learn, you could take some classes in Korean. Yeah? If you want to learn, you could take steps to learn or research or find out. If you don't want to learn, you don't. It's up to you. So these two boxes are okay because I know that I know and I know that I don't know. So there's the feeling of having some self-control. Then let's come down here. Here are things that you don't know. But you don't know that you don't know. Now, can you give me an example of something you don't know, but you don't know that you don't know? Yeah?
Theoretically, something that we don't know. So
Sorry?
the very notion of thinking about that. We don't know if we're correct on that, so technically we don't know.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah? Future, but you know that you don't know. Okay, so that would be in the learning mode. In fact, for this box, you cannot give an answer. Yeah? These are things you don't know, but you're not even aware that you don't know. But this is the important box. Now, what do you think this box is called? It's in the subconscious, but...
Black box.
Sorry?
Black box.
The black box, okay. Yeah. Ignorance. It's even a bit more serious than that. Yes?
What we do not know that we actually know.
And that's coming up. But this is known as your danger box. When you behave from here, it's a danger. Now let's take a practical example and then we bring it to the self. Let's say there is a new machine in the office or in the kitchen. Actually, I don't know how to use it correctly. And I don't realize that, but I'm using it. What could be the result? I could cause a fire, I could damage my hand, I could break the machine. Because I'm doing something wrong, I don't even realize I am doing something wrong. Now, let's bring it a bit closer to the personal self. Let's say I have some bad, irritating habit, and all of you can see it, but I can't see it. Yeah? It's a don't know, it's a character flaw. You can see, but I can't see. So this is a danger to maybe my relationships, to my working style, to being able to cooperate with others. Let's bring it down to a more practical level, especially in the work environment. Let's say there's a person who has a very controlling attitude. Let's say I'm a control freak, right? I like to control everyone and everything around me. Everyone else knows this guy's a control freak, but I don't realize I am like that. I thought I'm just, being firm or being disciplined. But because of this behavior, people keep a distance from me. People don't want to work with me. People start avoiding meetings that I'm creating. People don't want to be part of my team. So it's a danger to my working with others and forming collaborative working relationships. Let's take another example. Let's say I'm a very opinionated person. I believe I alone am right every time. So when there are meetings taking place, people give me ideas, people make suggestions, but I always do what I want to do. So then people start saying, what's the point of going to the meeting, he's anyways going to do what he wants, so they don't turn up anymore. So these behaviors coming from the danger box are going to sabotage my success in my professional life, in forming good, meaningful, healthy relationships. And there's one more box. We come back to the danger in a moment. One more box. These are things you know, but you don't know that you know. Okay? These are strengths, talents, abilities that you have. You don't even realize you have them. For example, let's say there's somebody who's really very difficult to work with, and everybody tries to avoid that person. But you work with that person very well, very easily, very harmoniously. And people say to you, how can you work with this individual? He or she is so difficult. And you may say, well, I'm just being myself. I'm not trying to do anything special. It means you have something inside you. You have some know-how which you don't even realize you have. Maybe you have a naturally accepting attitude. So when people are with you, they feel comfortable, they feel safe. Maybe you have the tendency to show respect to others, so people feel good in your company. And therefore they drop their ego, they drop their emotional guard. Now what do you think we call this box? Yes, sir?
Potential development.
Yeah, can be developed even more, but already there is something there. What is that? It's a nice word. This is called that's your magic box. Right? And every single person has some magic inside them. And if I cannot see the magic in another person, it just means I'm not looking properly. Right? There's something, we have something to learn from every individual. If I have the attitude, what is the magic in this person? Okay. Now, why is it called magic? Because as if by magic, it appears in your life, your work, your relationships, without you even calling upon it. It's already there. So what to do with this model of self-awareness? Well, of course, we are interested in growing. We don't just want this as a kind of piece of academic information. We want to use it in our practical lives. So first thing we want to do is to move the contents of our danger box into the learning box. Now the danger box can also be called as the area of our blind spots. So the things I don't know, the things I'm doing wrong, I want to know what that is. I want to become aware of where I'm making a mistake. Maybe in my attitude, maybe in the way I speak to someone, or maybe in the way I do things. If I can't see where I'm going wrong, I will continue to do wrong things. So becoming self-aware, here, maybe my attitude needs to change in this situation. So I begin to learn what I don't know, and I'm beginning to work on it. Next step is to move that into my security box. So what I know I don't know, and by learning, by working on it, now I know that I know. So a simple example, actually a real example of a friend of mine who used to get very aggressive when he was criticized. He was a boss in a big company, but he didn't realize he was being aggressive. He just thought he was being the boss. And then he became aware that he doesn't know how to deal with criticism. And he paid attention to himself that when somebody criticizes me, especially in a group meeting, I really have to learn to control my anger, my aggression. He started working on it. Then he shifted that into his security box. So now he knows how to handle criticism, how to deal with somebody who's making fun of him, how to deal with insults. By practice and working, he shifted the danger box to the learning box to the security box. And by continuing to practice and put into life the things that he was learning, then eventually they came into the magic box. And that is, they became natural for him. It became part of his personality. Such that you no longer need to consciously call upon that strength. It's become hardwired. It's become automatic for you. And if you do that, if you continue to move what's in the danger box through the learning, through the security, through the magic, then guess what happens? The magic box will grow. Right? Danger box will become smaller. You begin to fill up the magic box. And it'll grow even more. Until all you are is one big magic box. That's the journey of what I would call as personal evolution. Okay? Now, whether you reach that stage or not is another question. What this makes us aware, there is a potential for each one of us to grow and to bring out the best within ourselves by becoming self-aware. I'll ask you a question, not to answer now, but think about this in your own time. Me at my best. Think of times in your life when you were at your best. The best of you was coming out in terms of energy, creativity, determination, focus, whatever it was. Me at my best. Now, what enabled that to happen? How come I was at my best at that moment, at that time? What were the ingredients that made that happen? How can I leverage that to be at my best more often? It's a question of guiding the self, working on the self, talking to the self. It's about becoming aware of this universe. I use the word Y-O-U, the universe that is inside every person. It's the most exciting thing to explore, that inner universe within you, and to make changes, to upgrade yourself so that your relationship with the outer world is also positively impacted. Is that all clear? All right, just going to end with one more little slideshow about emotional dynamics. Okay, so this is about what happens when different kinds of personality types come together. Especially useful, if you're going to be working with people, maybe you become a supervisor or a boss. You need to know how personalities interact with each other. So let's say there is one person who is arrogant. And arrogance means, I am right, you are wrong. This person is working with somebody else who has the exact same attitude. No, I am right, you are wrong. Now what do you think is going to happen here? Yeah? So whether it's between two people in an office or it's groups of people, but there'll be a conflict. Sometimes it's a Cold War, where two people in an office are ignoring each other. There's a very cold and tense atmosphere. Or sometimes they are shouting at each other and trading insults. So it's the result of two arrogances, basically two egos, bashing against each other. I am right, you are wrong. Let's take another scenario. One person has this attitude, arrogance, I am right, you are wrong, working or dealing with somebody who feels the opposite, feels worthless. I am nothing. I am of no value whatsoever. What do you think is going to happen there?
Take advantage.
Yeah, take advantage. The arrogant one will dominate the worthless one and will make him into an emotional football, right? Push him around. Interestingly, if the worthless one becomes comfortable with the self-image, I am worthless, then you may look for another arrogant one if the first arrogant one goes away. And this is why in self-awareness, in meditation, we learn the best way to help someone is to help them raise their self-esteem. When your self-esteem rises, then you're giving out a very different message to the world. And people begin to also change their approach towards you. My self-respect will naturally bring respect to me without me demanding it. But if my self-respect is low, I will demand respect, and I won't get real respect from others. Third one person feels worthless, working with somebody else who also feels worthless. What happens here?
Drama.
Well, not much happening. No. It's a couch potato with a remote control and a packet of potato chips nearby. So, not much productivity taking place. Yeah? Because one has the attitude, I don't know what to do, my ideas are useless. The other one says, well, don't look at me, I haven't got any ideas. So now they both need a third person to tell them what to do. Okay, here's where it gets a little bit deeper. One person has arrogance. Now this person is working with somebody else who is emotionally, mentally, spiritually very mature. And one of the indications of maturity is a balanced personality. Now, there are many types of balances, but one main one is a balance between being confident and being humble. Both of those. So confidence, I believe in myself, I accept myself, I value myself, but also humble, I'm ready to learn from you. Maybe there's something you tell me which I didn't realize. It's a very high state of personal growth, the balance of confidence and humility. Now what will happen here if these two come together? Change? What will change? Yeah, there will be change, but what will be the change? Yeah, what's going to happen is the arrogant one will be disarmed. Arrogant one will begin to drop their arrogance. Now, within an arrogant person, there is a small child. And that child is saying, I need some love. I need to be recognized. I need attention. I need some praise. I need to be noticed. Right? That's what the arrogance is indicating, an inner emptiness. Now, if you are very balanced in humility and confidence, with no effort, you'll be able to generate that kind of attitude and energy towards the arrogant person. With no effort. And in your company, the arrogant one will begin to feel more secure. And as he or she feels secure, they will drop this arrogant behavior. It'll just seem silly to be arrogant in the company of someone who's so mature. And I've seen this in a number of cases. Some people I know have been tremendously mature emotionally and spiritually, in their company, you also grow being in their company. And this is the power of your own example, how arrogant people feel more comfortable in your company, more secure, and hence their behavior changes. Takes time though, won't happen overnight. Okay, and then finally, if you have one person with humility and confidence, working with somebody else who also is humble and confident, what happens there?
Growth.
Growth, okay, yes, there will be growth, but what else would you see?
Creation.
Creation, okay. There's a certain energy, let's call it, which peace would be there. And did you say flying? Yeah. What is it that people want from other people?
Acceptance.
Right? Subconsciously, we all are looking to be respected. Think of a conversation between any two people. There are two conversations. One is the verbal conversation, which we listen to with our ears. The other is the emotional conversation, which we listen to with our eyes. We're saying, does this person value me? Is he or she paying attention to my words? Is he or she honoring my presence? We listen more to the emotional conversation, the need to feel respected. Regardless of age, nationality, race, religion, if you respect another person, they like it and they come closer to you. If you disrespect them, they don't like it. So if you're able to generate this respect for the other, I believe in myself, I value myself, but I can learn something from you. And if the other one has the same attitude, then the productivity is very high. What the man can do, the fish cannot do. What the fish can do, the man cannot do. Mutual respect. And then the mathematics gets interesting. Anyone good in maths here? There's one lady who has a problem. Okay, can you work this one out? What do you think? Yeah. Which means that, one such mature person working with another such mature person, the productivity is tremendous, because there are no ego games going on. There's no competition going on. I'm not trying to outdo the other. So they're helping each other. The task is moving forward, and success is achieved by them coming together and bringing their talents together. This is really a great, if you can have people like this in your team, it's game over.
So let's give a big round of applause for our speaker. I hope you can